The biggest 1 week jump in 16 years just happened for one ASX sector, and that usually means massive runs are coming next. We'll show you exactly what happened, plus give you 3 stocks from this sector that are primed for monster reversals. Backed by Australia's leading government accredited share trading education and supported by major media outlets Australia-wide, I am Philip Tortevsky, joined by senior analyst Janine Cox, and we are Wealth Within. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Very good. Now that you're on a Monday show, this will be awesome.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, and it's a sector that we've been speaking about a lot recently. So let's get straight into it now. First up, check this chart out of the tech sector, which has had its biggest 1 week move up in almost or over 10 years. I want to go and check that out now on the screen and get into this sector, Janine, because I did a bit of analysis, as you can see on the chart.
Very nice.
Yeah, just drew up a nice little momentum line following some of these major reversals the tech sector has had. And what we're talking about right now is we're coming off a 50% correction. And if you look at last week's price action, it was almost a 13% move up for the week. Now, I went and measured that versus all the price action that happened, especially around these major reversal points. And what I saw was, around 2022, 8% up, around 2020, which was a hugely volatile period, around 8% for the reversal. Then we got 4% around 2016, and so along we go until we get to 2008, post-GFC, where the market also fell 50% exactly. And then it had a really a strong 1 week reversal bar near the low, which happened in February 09, and that was 12%. So really speaks to volumes when you're talking about, over 16 years since the last time this kind of buying activity came in, and at such a important price level. I think it's something worthwhile taking a look at. I know we've done on a previous show talking about how oil had peaked around that $120, $110 region, and that inverse relationship with tech that we showed last week. So please go and check out our YouTube video on last week's show. You'll see a really interesting follow-on from what we're talking about right now in terms of tech and oil. But let's get into the first stock, Janine, because I want to get there and start giving some of these stocks that are showing some interesting unfoldings. Now, I think first we have WiseTech. I'm happy for you to take it over because you've got to be a gentleman when the guests are in.
I might not come back again. WiseTech, I think that everybody should really stop and really listen to what Phil's saying, because, the opportunities come around every so often, and this is a huge one, isn't it? And look at how far that WiseTech has fallen. Who'd have thought that WiseTech would do this? And to some of our students, particularly our advanced students, they'll be seeing this pattern and thinking, that's a classic. We could just see it. It's met so many levels. They'll be liking that. Now it's about making sure you've got the right rules and getting ready for it. This is the time to be getting ready for these sorts of stocks, everyone. So, and look, WiseTech obviously hasn't had, it's got a bit of history there. We've got at least 10 years, so that's always nice to see. And that strong level is very strong. The momentum coming up here, it accelerated and obviously got too far away from that overall momentum that has been identified on the chart, and it's just come back in perfect fashion all the way to that low. But I just want to cross over to the weekly chart just a little bit so that we can have a look at what's going on that tighter move there. So clearly what we say is that 1 week up, it looks really interesting. We're excited about it. However, it doesn't mean it's a buy at this point here, because the momentum and the volatility has all been to the downside. And you could be jumping in to see a reversal and go back the other way. We don't think that that's the case at this point. Just look at the volume there. It's also supporting it. Well, we often like to see a stock bounce, but it does depend on your rules, because there are some stocks that you don't need that bounce to get the confirmation that it's time to go and do that. But yeah, I'm really excited about this one for so many reasons, ticking all the boxes. Yeah,
well, it's one of the biggest players in tech, and it's also one that I know people have been messaging in and talking about, saying, hey, look at WiseTech for many, many weeks now. So we're doing it today. But I just wanted to add one more thing on that chart that we've got for WiseTech, and that is that weekly chart. You mentioned a little bit about that volume coming in recently. The last time huge volume like that, sustained volume came in, it was literally around the COVID low. And funnily enough, prices have now come back and tested. I mean, that's the 2022 low, that's the COVID low, but almost tested on that, momentum line up, that exact level. So really, like you said, Janine, we're not saying today is a buy, but this is definitely a watch this space right now, because you're getting an opportunity that you haven't had for almost 4 years on a stock that is one of the big players. We're not talking about some willy-nilly, 10-cent stock in tech. We're talking about our biggest representative here, or one of. And
yeah, it makes you wonder, the mind boggles as to how a stock like that can fall to that degree like that, and who's pushing it down, and where are they getting the stock to short it,
Yeah.
And you only have to look in your own backyard to realise that it's coming from our own equity that they're doing this.
Yeah, and it's interesting you said, if for the ones that are aware, especially our students, the kind of unfolding that was happening around this period and what it meant for where the stock was likely to go to, those projections and doing all of that analysis, that's why is another huge reason why this stock is looking very interesting right now. So for all of you out there that are looking at WiseTech and thinking, hey, when is the time to be watching? We're saying now, so keep a very close eye on it. And if you do want to get into some of the techniques like Janine mentioned, like I was talking about, these patterns that unfold over stocks that let you gauge where a stock's likely to move to and turn next, please go and check out the book, which I've put the wrong way around, which is awesome on a Monday, but How to Beat the Managed Funds by 20%. It's free. You just have to pay the shipping, by Dale Gillham. The link is in the description in this video. But as always, please, if you want to take things to the next level and really hone in on that price analysis to give you these opportunities and know when the timing is right to get involved with stocks like WiseTech, go and visit the website, check out our diploma of share trading and investment. It is government accredited. You will not find that anywhere else. And go and check the testimonials out, because you will see the amazing results that our students and clients are having at the moment, which is awesome.
Well, someone said to me, oh, why would I do the course? And then when I talked to them about Rio, I think I mentioned some of the reasons why on our recent show, or a recent show, and when we looked at Rio and how far it fell during the GFC, which is 90%, and people didn't think it was going to fall that far. Nobody thought WiseTech was going to fall this far, except we knew that there was a momentum there and there were certain levels there that, worst case scenario, and it's come back to the worst case scenario. But if you'd bought in near the top, to me that there's thousands of dollars as to why you would actually want to get more education right now.
Oh, yeah.
To actually be able to protect yourself from those sort of falls.
In this sector, well, I think you can put that number up a lot more. There is so much potential given the volatility of it. And you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to ask yourself, and I've had this discussion with myself, and you've probably been asked this. It's like, what do you want to be? Do you want to be an economist, and do you want to play in the world of trying to understand why of everything?
Or guess what Trump's going to do next?
Yeah. Or do you actually want to use this vehicle to become profitable? Where do you sit in that? Because it's two things are true. An economist, a lot of the time, does not know how to trade. And a trader does not care about, certain economic factors. They're more concerned about getting in right, getting out right, and making a profit. And if you had that approach on a stock like WiseTech, you'd see very big opportunity on the horizon, and especially over the years to make money on stocks just like this next one we're about to bring up, which is NextDC Limited. Now let's get to the chart of NextDC. Not as much of a fall as WiseTech. Again, in a beautiful space. It's got the data center, the hardware style of tech. But for me right now, sitting at that $14 level, and it's a reason why I brought this one up, it's at make or break time. This $14 is so crucial. It's been resistance in the past. If we can get through here, start moving up and start finding some support or making $14 a base, I think NextDC is really primed to go and attack those all-time high levels at $18 and beyond, because we've really had a really huge capitulation back in 2025 for NextDC. Look how strong the buys were. They literally said, no, not happening. Coming back all the way just as quick. Then we've had a second bout of consolidation and a bit of a pullback to those levels. Now we're seeing really strong buying come through, and we're all doing it on this sustainable rate of rise, which is this momentum level. So each time it's bounced off there, it's been a buying opportunity more, literally every single time. So now that we've come off that, keep a close eye on $14 for me. If we get through that, it gets very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you've identified a tipping point there for sure. When you look at the chart and you can see that it's all coming to agreement, and we can see that the price is coming up and it's trying to push up to these levels. that could be a tipping point to the downside. But this is what you're cautioning about, is to make sure that the stock actually proves that that level's going to hold before it moves on. So a lot of people try to jump in at the bottom and then see stocks hit these levels and then they fall away. But, if this one gets going and it starts pushing higher towards the all-time high, then we could be seeing new all-time highs from that if that's the case.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, now let's just go to that weekly chart and have a closer look at what we are seeing on that weekly. And for me, you have a look at the volatility over this last move. You look at the low back in December and the nature of the bars coming through there. We've literally done in 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks what we failed to do in 2 months in terms of movement on the upside. And we're almost now breaking into that 14. So we're moving up faster or bouncing faster from those lows, very similar to what we saw in April, May 2025. So when you're seeing this kind of price action, really strong buying, 2 things need to happen. The buying needs to be supported like we saw back in May 2025, no real sellers. And now we're about to find out, which is why I think it's so important to be watching NextDC. If we get weak sellers through this period and we hold those $13, $14 levels, or maybe pull back a little bit into that $13.50 level, that's going to really bode well for this one. But like I said, I really want to see it get and hold above $14 before you get excited for that next leg up. But definitely one that has done all the right things, come off all the right levels in terms of support, and now looks ready for that next long-term run.
Yep, and it's not out of the ordinary to see NextDC make these sideways moves, even this, volatility, and come back and test, and it did so during this period here in 2012 and through 2015. So, it is volatile, and it will be for the near term, I think, at least, until we get through that phase.
You think that, helps when people, because I know, there's a lot of, well, there always has been people going to, I want to go to the daily chart, or I want to go trade intraday to find opportunities. But when you look at a stock like NextDC and you're looking at it in the longer time frame, there's so much opportunity, sitting on those bigger time frame charts that what's the point of going short term?
Look, I agree with you. And I think that it's really up to the individual, though, to get to that point where they decide which way they want to go, though.
Yeah.
And so we have students who come through and they do our courses, and we spend most of our time on the weekly chart and monthly chart, but they do move to the daily chart sometimes, and that's fine. As long as you can prove to yourself that what you're doing works, then that's great. If you're working on, a handful of stocks or even markets. I was working with someone who was actually working on the NASDAQ and doing some analysis on there and finding repeatable patterns on that. So, it's each to your own, but when you get the experience and the knowledge, then you can make it work for you the way you want it.
Yeah.
I like this one.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, well, let's move on to our next stock, which is Xero Limited. Now, this one here is coming off a bit of a serious pullback if we go to the chart and get into Xero. Again, but the theme of all these stocks, and what's interesting, I've got this line here, Janine, that I drew, which is really when you look at this line, you'll see that most significant reversals, once the stock gravitates back towards this level, it's often the springboard for it to move either way. Like we saw it be the level where it bounced off on the way down. Again, we saw it bounce on the way down. Then we saw it blow off, come back to that support level before the next move up, come back to that level again, and we're here now again. And what's even more interesting is that we're coming into a horizontal level around $66, which is the COVID low, also the December 22 low, and now potentially the next big low. And when you look at a stock like Xero, what gives, I think, me a little bit of confidence that we can continue to go on is this price action will probably scare a lot of people into thinking, I'm never touching this stock again. Look at the way it's fallen.
Especially if they've ridden it all the way down.
Right?
Yeah.
But you look at the history of Xero, it's done pretty much the same thing back in 2022. Every correction has been sharp. I mean, look, that one was a little bit longer, but all red. And so it's not uncommon for this sector and these kinds of stocks to unfold this way. So I think what it's done, yes, it's been quite extended, but it's not out of the ordinary. And right now it's starting to find some buyers again off that really serious level. So this is the make or break for me. It's got to hold here, otherwise I'm forgetting about it. And it's got to get moving and show some confirmation before thinking about a buy. But, there's also some interesting levels and things going on with the volume on that weekly chart. Again, like the last time we saw a big volume like that was literally back during 2020 around that COVID period. And now again, we're getting that volume. So
That repeating.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I like this one as well, just because of where it's come back to. It's similar to WiseTech in terms of that long-term angle of the trend and how far we've seen this fall and how volatile it's been. The pattern's slightly different. I think, I had a conversation with someone via email recently, one of our advanced students, talking about these pullbacks in the tech stocks and the opportunity that's there that they're seeing. But what's really interesting to us is all of these patterns we're seeing. That the way that the stock unfolds is part of an overall and bigger picture pattern, which tells us that we were expecting a rebound now, and the rebound could come anywhere between sort of 110 and 130. At least we would expect to see that rebound come in once it clears the angle of this trend and provides a bit of confirmation. Because if you look at the weekly chart, we can still see that the issue with this one right now is that it's still very much down on that big picture time frame, even though we've seen that, it looks like it's finding support at that bottom there, which is a positive sign. It's almost like seeing the brakes come on. We know that stocks can trade sideways there for a little while. This one's probably a little bit further behind WiseTech in terms of where it's at the moment. But we're also seeing some really good volume coming in there too, supporting that. So I think that once we actually get a few weeks up, we can confirm that low's in. That would probably be the earliest time, but some may want to let it test that low before they risk their money. And that just depends on the strategy that they've chosen. But, from a bigger picture pattern point of view, we could already have the top in. And we're now seeing that the rebound that happens after the top, which for these sort of volatile stocks can be a lot faster and harder than some of the, slower moving types.
Interesting stuff. All right. Well, if you want more from us, check out our video, Trump-Iran ceasefire over, buy these ASX stocks now.